There's actually a pretty big crossover between BMX and drifting, and why, I really don't know. I think it has something to do with maybe the adrenaline in each sport, and maybe the fact that both are kind of like a little bit on the edge, a little bit pushing the limits with authority. But as I kind of got older, I saw more and more of my BMX friends getting 240s and getting into drifting on Instagram. And there was this one clip that really stood out to me, and it was actually Chelsea Denofa doing a backwards entry at Pat's Acres. And just something about that clip just looked so aggressive and so fun that I just made the decision. And I remember I sat my girlfriend at the time, Nicole, down, and I was like, I'm getting a 240. I'm gonna find a way to make this happen. I was getting to a point where I just kept getting hurt riding BMX, and for me that was my only outlet, my only fun. So when I couldn't ride, I was kind of a little depressed and down because I didn't have another hobby, something fun. So drifting for me, it's okay if I'm bashed up from riding my bike, I can still hop in a car and go drive. And that's sick because I know I have something to fall back on. I can go do more stuff on my bike without being worried oh, if I get hurt, then I can't do anything fun because now I have drifting. And I get a very, very similar adrenaline rush drifting that I get riding BMX, if not more at the moment, because it's new, it's exciting, and I really don't know what I'm doing out there. So it's really fun. The car's definitely been through a lot. It's way different than when I got it, but it hasn't been just a all at once thing. I've liked the idea of kind of upgrading in slow spurts. That way the car always has something fresh and always has something exciting. And I've just been kind of going along with, as my skill progresses in drifting, upgrading. So I'm not just, okay, let's build a crazy car and not know how to drift. So, I started getting a hang of the track. I do angle mods in a hydro. I break a rocker arm and the engine's out. I upgrade the turbo and injectors. So we have a 2J kind of being built on the side right now for when either this SR goes or when the 2J is done. I'm just always about seat time. I don't really care about having the coolest car or the best running car. I just want to have something that's very stout and that will run every time. And I used to think an SR was reliable, but it's proven otherwise. I drive my 240 all the time. If you go and look at any random video of mine, you'll see that I drive my 240 around town more than I drive my daily. I love it. It's fun. I love going around with it. People give you weird looks why your front wheels look broken driving around with all that camber. But I don't know, it's just a good time. I feel very connected with the car, and I guess even if I'm out on the street just driving, it feels kind of like I'm on the track, so it just makes me happy. Everyone knew me for BMX and they wanted to see my BMX riding. And I would post a picture of my car now and then, but I never thought that people would want to see kind of the process behind the scenes of whatever, putting coilovers on a car, or changing a bumper, or changing oil, all the weird stuff that I never thought people would be interested in. There's been this influx of people that just kind of want to relate. They want to live vicariously and see what you do with the cars. And it's really cool because that passion, both in myself and outside of me, kind of drives my passion even further, because people are hyped on what I'm doing, I'm hyped on what I'm doing, and it makes me want to do more, until it gets to the point where it's way too much to handle, which is always where I'm at, but that's when it's fun. I always said that I didn't want to cage my car, but sure enough, I wound up caging it. More or less because I wanted to be able to drive with Nicole, and she couldn't ride in the car if I didn't have a cage. But as I put a cage in my car, I found a new love for tandeming, which I didn't want to do at first because I thought I would bash up my car. But as of right now, I haven't hit anyone tandeming yet. It's gonna happen, and I accept that, but I guess that's just part of the fun. I have BC DR series coilovers. I run the BR series on all the other like street cars that I have, but for drifting and just honestly on the street, I really like the DR series coilovers. I have PBM knuckles, I have aftermarket tie rods, I have 50 mil lower control arms. A bit aggressive, but I'm planning on going to PBM adjustable ones. I actually have them, just haven't had time to put them in. I've got 18x9 Cosmos MR7s in the rear, and I actually have a brand new set of black chrome Cosmos for the whole car. I just have some tinkering to do with the front end with kind of like spacers and stuff to get it so it clears the fenders and the big brakes. I also have all the ISR arms and a welded diff. One of my favorite mods I've done to the car are the CTSV 4-piston Brembos in the front, which again, I had no idea would actually make a big difference because I was like, oh, well, you know, my stock brakes, I hit them really hard and I skid, but I didn't realize that having a bigger surface area would actually allow me to slow down rather than just like not stop and or skid. The car's tuned by Martin at RS Enthalpy. He's probably actually tuned the car like half a dozen times already. It's just a chip on the stock ECU. I'm just always constantly tinkering with the setup, so I like to play it safe and get a retune every time I change something. But Martin's a great guy, and he's kind of local too, which is sick. The setup that I run now, it's really consistent. I honestly, with all the crazy cars that I've driven, I feel the most at home in my car. So whether it's a good setup or I'm just used to it, I don't know. I feel like I should kind of mention my friends that have made all of this possible for me. My main friend Jimmy helped me so much with the 240 and kind of finding it, and he went with me to go get the car. And the whole idea was we were gonna kind of like build the car together. That was when in my head I had it staying in Connecticut. And I was kind of like nervous to bring it down to Florida, but one of the guys who I met at BC Racing, Taylor Ray, really convinced me to bring the car down to Florida. I was a little bit nervous that I wouldn't know where to drift or I wouldn't know someone that could help me if the car broke, because at the time I didn't really know anything about fixing cars. Sure enough, I broke a rocker arm in Maryland driving the car down, and him and his friend Marco came, helped me get the car back up and running, and since then Taylor's become like one of my best friends, and Marco too, and they've kind of helped me along the way, and they even pointed me in the direction of someone who knows even more than all of us about cars, and that's my new friend Alberto, who's been helping me build the 2J and lots of other complicated fabrication stuff that I can't do myself. I'm really fortunate to be able to be in this position where I can afford to do all this stuff with our cars. I'm able to drift as much as I do. And to be honest, none of it would be possible without all the support of my viewers and all my friends that I've met over time that have been helping me in drifting. But I mean, the people that have been there since day one and the people that have been kind of joining along the journey, like I owe so many thanks to them, and I literally can't thank them enough. I'm just really excited to see kind of where this whole thing goes and bring everyone along with me.